Hey everyone, my name is Molly Getz, and today we're going to be working on a newer shape to the bob community. We're going to call this the Shob because this is my take on a shag and a bob. So we're going to start with our model here that already has an existing bob. We're looking to take this a little shorter and give her some interest around her face. Now, anytime that I am working on a guest at the salon and they are looking to make a big change, I always like to start in the area where the biggest change is gonna happen first. So for this specific situation, we are gonna start cutting from the front and the top and work our way back. This is going to prevent us from needing to use a ton of clips to get the hair sectioned out, as well as give that client some time to get used to their new look. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is section out a small area at the very center front so I can make a guide for my length. You'll see that I already have my sections sectioned out already. So the first section is going to be a triangular shaped section going from the front left corner and then connecting it straight up, and then the same thing on the right side. Right front corner and then connecting it up. You'll notice that we're not taking this all the way back to the high point of the head or the apex. We're coming about an inch forward to where the fringe is naturally going to live. So I'm going to take my small guide from the very front of the section, right in the very center, and we're going to discuss where we want to see the length at its shortest point. So knowing that this can be a fringe that can be convertible or moved from side to side, we're gonna wanna make sure that we leave enough length for this guest to move their hair from one side to the next, or if it's going to sit right in the center, how is it going to frame the eyes? So I'm going to give a little slack to my section, and we're gonna take this section to just at about the bridge of the nose. And I'm going to elevate this section up, and I'm going to remove that length, elevate it up in the air. I elevate it so that way I can already build some texture into the ends. Even though it's the guide, it's starting us out on the right foot. So what we're going to do next is take our guide and take the left side of the section. And knowing that we're going to be cutting this at center front, I'm going to elevate it and over direct it to center front. So the elevation in this haircut is going to be elevated off the head diagonally. Diagonal elevation is going to allow us to start to build some softness into this shape. So we're elevating up at 45 degrees. I've seen my guide, and my finger angle is going to be diagonal as well. And now I'm going to point cut that out. And I'm gonna explain why I point cut here in a minute, but that is my first section. Now we're gonna spin it around and do the opposite side. So I'm keeping a hold of my section, and I'm going to take a sliver of hair from that first guide, and now we're going to elevate that hair. I'm gonna elevate that hair diagonally. I'm over directing it towards the face. I see my guide, and now we're going to point cut. So I like to point cut because this helps build a lot of texture and movement into the hair, and it removes length all at once. It's one of those scenarios you get kind of two for the price of one. And now we've got a really great start to this shaggy front fringe area. So as we move around the head, now we're going to start to take diagonal sections, working from the crown of the head towards the face. So we're gonna continue working our way back, and we're going to be doing the same motion. We're gonna be elevating it, we're lifting the hair up, we're lifting it up diagonally, 45 degrees above horizontal for my principle-based friends out there. And we are going to still over direct it towards the face. And now, instead of over directing it all the way to center front, we are gonna over direct to this previous section. So we're gonna start to get a little bit longer as we work towards the back, but we don't want this to be a major We don't want it to be a major change of length. We just want a subtle change of length. So we're just over directing it to the previous section. A nice point cut through the front, and take our next section. We're elevating it up towards the front hairline. Now we're aiming for our elevation to come to just at the side of the head. So I change my body position to stand where I want to elevate to. That's a really helpful tool for you if you can think about standing where you want to cut to. So we're just going to continue moving and make sure that I have all of the hair from the side of the head lifted up and back. Lifting it up. And now we just have a little bit left to take off. So I'm just going to point cut that out. Now we do the other side. I love to point cut with the Streamline series shears. I'm a lefty. They make all the shears in left-handed, which I absolutely love. But these shears make point cutting so easy. I mean, these are probably my favorite shears I think I've ever owned in my career. They glide through the hair, so if you're going to do any type of slide cutting, they slide so nicely. They're super lightweight, and they have the ergonomic handle, which I love. So my thumb is offset. It makes being comfortable with cutting a complete breeze. So now that we have the front cut, we're gonna move to the back. And what I'm going to do now is really just connect the dots. I know I have a guide from the very top of the section that I just cut, and that is going to be what I'm going to connect the sides to the back with, is this guide right here. From the top of the ear, now I'm going to take some sections that are going to still be diagonal, using the center back of the head as my guide. So this is where if you want to clip off your hair, just so that way you can keep your eye on where center back is, I'm just gonna use my no bend clip because I think these clips are just fantastic. They hold so much hair, they don't leave any bend marks in the hair at all, and they are super easy to reposition because of having the rubber on the inside of the clip. So I'm going to just clip this hair out of the way, just so that way I can keep my eye on where center back is. And now I'm going to take diagonal sections from center back towards the face, using that guide from the high point of the head. And there really isn't going to be a ton to cut because this was already a shorter haircut to start with. I'm sure that happens to you a lot in the salon, where a client comes in and they aren't always starting with hair to the middle of their back and making this massive change. Sometimes it's just taking what's already existing and updating it. That's really all we're really looking at doing right now, is taking this bob, this one length bob that this model already had going on, and just giving it a fresh update. So I'm gonna take this clip out, I don't need it anymore, and I'm just gonna continue working down this section diagonally forward, and I'm running out of hair at this point. So I'm still elevating up. With this elevation, we're going to be getting a lot of movement, remember. So this is a great way to build some softness into what was once a more squared off shape. So there we've got it. Now we're gonna do the other side. Still gonna clip this off here, and we're going to, again, go from the high point of the head. Remember, for reference, this is center back. Here's the high point of the head. This is where my guide is coming from. So we're going diagonally forward. I'm at the top of the ear right here. Remember, this is where we stopped last time. So we wanna make sure we're gathering all the hair, coming up to that section, moving forward. And I just need a little bit more, just kidding. I don't wanna over direct past the ear. So my body position is going to be in front of where I want my over direction to come to. There's my guide. I don't have to cut a lot of hair off. Again, it's all about what you leave behind. It's not so much about always making a ton of hair hit the floor. If the guide says that we need to remove hair, we do what the guide is telling us. Then we won't ever get lost. Elevate the hair up, still in that same section. And we're just gonna remove the last little bits that need to be taken off. Spin a little bit. Remember, there is our center back. And we'll take one more section, elevate that up to the previous section. And I think I'm just gonna be opening and closing my shears just to remove about 5 hairs. It seems like that anyway. All right, and now we've got our new shape through the back of the head. So now all we have to do is go in and update our bob length. One thing I love to do on my bob haircuts is in the nape area, I like to release a little bit of weight before I take the length off. So in this bob in particular, I know that we're gonna bring the length of this up to just below the base of the hairline. So what I'm gonna do now is go in at center back, and I am going to move the hair out of the way just so I can find center back, and right where my comb leaves the head. You see where my comb leaves the head? This is gonna be where I'm gonna make a horizontal parting. I'm gonna part from side to side and just get this hair that's right above that section out of the way. This is that occipital bone that can tend to give us a lot of hair volume in this nape area. A lot of people keep a lot of hair in this nape area, but what that can usually lead to is a bulkiness or like this inability to get the hair to move at all in the nape. So I'm gonna section this out, and once I get this sectioned here, I'm gonna use our no bend clips again to get the hair out of the way. I'm gonna bust out my Invisablend shears. And the reason I'm gonna use these is because number one, these shears have handles that can easily be flipped one way or another depending on which way I want the teeth to be pointing. I love to use my Invisablend shears because they remove hair, but they don't leave any lines behind. It's amazing. I'm gonna lift the hair just above where my section line is. So my middle finger is going to be in line with my parting. And with my teeth down on my Invisablend shear, I'm just gonna go back and forth and work my way down that section and remove some hair. I'm gonna get a better grip on this, lift the hair up again. And what I'm doing as I'm going back and forth is I'm moving a little farther away using my ring finger to guide the shears. And we're going to release that hair. So you're going to be getting a lot of texture built into that section. We're removing some length for sure, but we also are building in the look of softness and building in softness, all while keeping that hair, all while maintaining length at the bottom of that section. So now what this has created is still a nice dense part, a nice dense line at the base of this haircut, but from a side view, we've removed the bulk at the bottom. So let's go ahead and do the other side. It's okay if not every single hair in the section gets cut. If I wanted every single hair in the section to get removed at the same distance away from the head, I would have just used a blunt shear. But because I'm trying to build in that texture and that softness, I am using my texture shear. So some of the hairs aren't going to be removed, and that's okay. We just are looking for softness. And there we've got it. You can see from that side angle, again, see how that is really tucking that hair in towards the nape. This is great for anyone who has mass amounts of hair. So now, if we were to just drop our section over top, let me comb this all back down. This is like our little secret now. It doesn't show in the haircut. Everything else lays over top, but now we've created a much more soft more of an oval shape at the back of this haircut. So now we're going to just go in, do some detailing on this perimeter, and we'll get into styling. All right, so in the perimeter, I'm just gonna use my comb, and I'm just going to come up and do some point cutting into that perimeter line to give us a nice jagged edge along this haircut line. If I can remove length and add texture at the same time, that's what I'm gonna do. So we're just going to continue moving up the head. I'm just dropping down sections horizontally so that way I can remove my length. I love using these combs because of that offset tooth at the very end. It really helps with parting the hair. So we're just dropping the length and using the wide teeth of the comb to comb the hair down. And now I'm using a visual guide right here at the bottom to point cut. Now I'm just going in and refining the length. Okay, now we're just gonna connect the front from the back. All right, we've got the shape built in, and now it's time to set up our style. And one of my favorite things to do is set up effortless looking styles, things that people can actually recreate at home and they aren't intimidated by tools and products and such. So I just sprayed a little bit of some spray wax through the hair just to start to show off this texture, but what we're really showing off is all of these new fun shaggy layers that we just created. So you can start to see that shape where it's shorter in the front and getting progressively longer in the back start to come through. But because we released all of this weight underneath here, it's giving the perimeter a little bit of personality, as I like to say. So now that we've got some product worked in here, we're going to style the hair. Now to style it, I'm gonna grab my Pro Ionic blow dryer, and I threw my diffuser attachment onto this blow dryer, and we're just going to slowly diffuse this look so that way the spray wax really plays with the new layers that we've got going on and just builds this really cool, effortless, piecey look into the hair. Here we go. All right, there we have it. It's a bob with some shag personality. Let's call it a shob, shall we? As always, thanks for watching. My name is Molly Getz. Follow us along on Instagram at Molly Getz, and of course, always follow and stay updated with our Sam Villa team at Sam Villa Hair. Thanks for watching.